Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. It really helps us out.
Absolutely.
Today we're diving into something truly mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Nation building.
Whoa.
But with an AI twist.
Ooh, interesting.
We asked 5 different AIs to design a country from scratch, like a brand new nation, for 10 million people.
Wow.
And let me tell you, the results are fascinating.
I bet.
With each AI taking a unique approach to, governance, the economy, and even the very fabric of society.
That's incredible. What's really intriguing is how these AI blueprints reflect different values and priorities. It's like each AI is subtly revealing its own philosophy of what makes a nation successful and what constitutes a good life for its citizens.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the most fundamental question.
Yeah.
How should this new nation be governed? It's fascinating to see the range of systems these AIs came up with.
Absolutely.
Some lean towards expert-led decision-making, while others emphasize direct citizen involvement. It's like they're exploring the age-old tension between efficiency and representation.
Exactly. Take Grok, for example.
Okay.
It proposed something called Techno-Communalism.
Techno-Communalism.
Yeah, instead of just throwing around the term.
Right.
Let's break it down. Imagine a system where data-driven experts make decisions,
Okay.
but with a strong emphasis on local communities having autonomy.
Okay.
It's like a blend of high-tech governance and grassroots democracy.
So you'd have a central brain trust making decisions based on data analysis.
Right.
But those decisions would be implemented with a lot of flexibility at the local level.
Exactly.
I wonder, would that create a more responsive and adaptable system?
Mm.
Or would it lead to inconsistencies and conflicts between regions?
That's a great question, and it's one that highlights the inherent complexities of governance.
Yeah.
Now, contrast that with ChatGPT's proposal, a hybrid meritocratic democracy.
Hybrid meritocratic democracy.
This system combines elected officials with appointed experts,
Interesting.
striking a balance between the voice of the people and hopefully the wisdom of those with specialized knowledge.
It sounds like a compromise aimed at getting the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
But would those two groups inevitably clash? Would the elected officials prioritize the immediate desires of their constituents?
Yeah.
While the appointed experts focus on long-term strategies.
Right.
It makes you wonder how they'd resolve those potential conflicts.
That's a key challenge in any system that tries to balance different perspectives and interests.
Yeah.
Now, Claude's AI took a slightly different route, proposing a dynamic meritocratic democracy.
Dynamic meritocratic democracy.
This one gets pretty intricate.
Okay.
Incorporating citizen assemblies where randomly selected individuals get to weigh in on policies.
Wow.
And to add another layer of complexity,
Okay.
they also proposed integrating AI analysis into the decision-making process.
So like combining direct democracy with the power of data analysis. It sounds incredibly ambitious. But could it actually work in practice? Would those citizen assemblies be truly representative?
Right.
And how would they balance the input of everyday citizens with the insights provided by AI?
Those are really important questions, and it speaks to the challenges of designing a system that's both inclusive and effective.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, it's interesting to note that both Copilot and Gemini went for variations of a hybrid democracy as well.
Okay.
Copilot emphasized e-governance for transparency and efficiency,
Okay.
using technology to streamline processes and keep citizens informed.
That makes sense in today's digital age.
Right.
But wouldn't that require a high level of digital literacy among the population? And would it be vulnerable to cyber attacks or manipulation? Those are things any nation relying heavily on technology would need to address.
You're absolutely right. Security and digital equity would be paramount in such a system.
For sure.
Gemini, on the other hand, emphasized merit-based leadership with citizen assemblies.
Yeah.
And you guessed it, AI assistance. It seems like many of these AIs see a role for AI in supporting democratic processes.
It's interesting to see that recurring theme of AI as a tool for governance. But it definitely raises questions about how much power we're willing to cede to algorithms.
Right.
How do we ensure that AI serves human needs and doesn't become the ultimate decision maker? It's a dilemma we need to grapple with as AI becomes more sophisticated.
It's a crucial point. Now, moving beyond the structure of governance, let's talk about something that's equally fundamental to a nation's well-being.
Okay.
Its economy.
The economy.
What struck me here is that these AIs weren't afraid to propose some truly radical ideas,
Oh, really?
going beyond just tweaking tax rates or adjusting interest rates.
Yeah, some of these proposals really challenge our conventional thinking about how economies work.
I bet.
For instance, Grok suggested a resource-based economy,
Okay.
where resources are distributed based on need and how much you contribute to society rather than traditional wealth accumulation.
It's a fascinating concept that raises some fundamental questions about the very nature of work and value. Instead of earning money to buy goods and services,
Right.
individuals would earn innovation credits by contributing their skills and knowledge to the community.
Innovation credits. So instead of focusing on individual gain,
Yeah.
the emphasis would be on collective well-being and societal progress. It sounds almost utopian, but could it work in practice?
That's the million-dollar question.
Would people be motivated to contribute if their basic needs were met and their rewards were based on their perceived contribution rather than a traditional salary?
That's the key question. Would such a system truly incentivize innovation and hard work?
Right.
Or would it lead to complacency and a lack of individual initiative? And how would those innovation credits be valued and managed?
Yeah,
It definitely challenges us to rethink our assumptions about how economies function.
it really does. Now, contrast that with ChatGPT's vision of a circular and inclusive economy.
Circular and inclusive economy.
This model focuses on sustainability, minimizing waste, and ensuring that everyone benefits from economic growth.
And to achieve that inclusivity,
Oh.
they propose something called a universal basic dividend, or UBD.
UBD.
It's similar to the concept of a universal basic income, or UBI,
Right.
but with a key difference.
Okay, so remind me again, what's the difference between the UBI and a UBD? They both involve giving everyone a regular payment.
Exactly.
But where does the money come from, and how does that impact the overall economy?
With a UBI, the government typically funds the payments through taxes or other revenue sources.
Okay.
A UBD, on the other hand, is funded by a portion of the nation's profits.
Okay.
From things like natural resources or state-owned enterprises. It's like everyone getting a share of the national wealth.
So instead of redistributing wealth through taxes,
Uh-huh.
the UBD system is more about sharing the fruits of the nation's collective efforts. That's an interesting distinction.
Yeah.
Did any of the other AIs go the UBI route?
Actually, both Claude and Gemini incorporated a UBI into their economic blueprints.
But with their own unique twists.
Oh, yeah?
Claude focused on a mixed economy with a UBI as a safety net for all citizens. Well, Gemini combined a UBI with universal health care and a lifelong learning system.
So it's not just about giving people money. It's about creating a system where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, both economically and personally. But wouldn't such a system require significant government revenue?
It would.
And how would you balance the need for individual initiative with the provision of a safety net?
It's a complex equation, and there's no easy answer. Now, Copilot took a slightly different approach, envisioning a diverse economy with special innovation hubs to attract top talent.
Innovation hubs. So it's like creating clusters of research development and entrepreneurship, kind of like a Silicon Valley.
Right.
But on a national scale, would that lead to an uneven distribution of wealth and opportunity?
Potentially.
With those hubs becoming centers of affluence while other regions struggle to keep up? That's a valid concern, and it highlights the potential trade-offs between fostering innovation and ensuring equitable development across all regions.
Yeah.
It's something policymakers would need to consider carefully.
So we've got resource-based economies, circular economies, UBIs, innovation hubs.
It's amazing.
It's like a smorgasbord of economic possibilities.
Hmm.
But a nation is more than just its government and economy, right?
Absolutely.
It needs institutions,
Uh-huh.
organizations,
Yeah.
those essential pillars that shape its character and values.
You're absolutely right. A nation needs a soul, not just a skeleton. And it's fascinating to see the diverse range of institutions these AIs came up with. Each one reflects a particular set of priorities and values, highlighting what the AI deemed most essential for a flourishing society.
Okay, let's dive into those key organizations and see what we can learn about the AI's underlying philosophies. Starting with Grok, which, as you'll recall, proposed that Techno-Communalism system with its emphasis on community autonomy. Well, they took it a step further by including a conflict resolution institute that prioritizes restorative justice over punishment.
Conflict Resolution Institute.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating departure from our traditional justice systems. Instead of simply punishing offenders, the focus is on addressing the root causes of conflict, repairing harm, and restoring relationships within the community.
So it's about healing and reconciliation rather than retribution. But would such a system be effective in deterring crime and ensuring accountability? And how would it handle serious offenses that require more than just restorative measures?
Those are important questions that would need to be addressed in the implementation of such a system. Now, contrast that with ChatGPT's AI, which took a more security-focused approach. They proposed a National Defense and Resilience Agency.
National Defense and Resilience Agency.
Responsible for everything from military defense to disaster response.
So it's like a one-stop shop for all things safety and security.
Yes, great.
Preparing for both internal and external threats. It makes sense, especially for a new nation trying to establish itself on the world stage. But would such a centralized agency be efficient? Or would it become too bureaucratic and slow to respond to emerging threats?
That's a valid consideration. The balance between centralized control and decentralized responsiveness is a constant challenge in any large organization. Now, one of the most intriguing organizations came from Claude's AI. Remember that Merit Council we discussed earlier, the one with veto power over laws?
Oh, yeah. That's the group of experts who can overrule the will of the people if they believe a law violates scientific evidence or human rights. It's a bold concept,
It is.
but also a potentially controversial one.
Exactly. It raises questions about the balance of power and who ultimately gets to decide what's best for society. On the one hand, it could safeguard against irrational or harmful decisions. On the other hand, it could create an unaccountable elite that undermines democratic principles.
It's a delicate balance for sure. Now, what about Copilot and Gemini? Did they propose any standout organizations that give us insights into their priorities?
Copilot, true to its focus on innovation, made innovation hubs central to its blueprint. These hubs would serve as magnets for talent driving technological and economic advancement.
It's like creating ecosystems where creativity can flourish.
Right.
And groundbreaking ideas can be turned into reality. But as we discussed earlier, those hubs could potentially exacerbate regional inequalities,
They could.
drawing resources and talent away from other areas.
Right, and that's something policymakers would need to address through strategic investments and policies that promote balanced development across all regions. Now, Gemini took a slightly different approach, suggesting a council of sages composed of wise and experienced individuals to advise the government.
Council of Sages. So it's like drawing on the wisdom of elders who have navigated complex challenges and have a deep understanding of human nature and societal dynamics.
Exactly.
But how would those sages be selected? Would they represent a diversity of perspectives and backgrounds?
That's crucial to ensure that the council's advice is balanced and reflects the needs of all segments of society. It's also worth considering whether their advice would be binding or simply advisory. Would the government be obligated to follow their recommendations, or would they have the freedom to make their own decisions?
These are all important questions that highlight the complexities of designing effective and equitable institutions. What stands out to you from this exploration of key organizations?
What strikes me is that each AI, in its own way, is trying to address the fundamental challenges of governance, security, and social harmony, whether it's through restorative justice, technological preparedness, or the wisdom of experts. These AIs are grappling with the complexities of what it means to build a thriving and sustainable nation.
It's fascinating to see how they prioritize different values and approaches. It makes you wonder what we as humans can learn from these AI experiments.
That's a great question, and it's one we'll delve into further in the next part of our deep dive.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part. We've explored the diverse range of governing systems these AIs envisioned, the innovative economic models they proposed, and the key organizations they created to shape their ideal societies. But there's still so much more to uncover.
Absolutely. We'll be back in part 2 to explore the cultural fabric, social dynamics, and overall vision these AIs have for their ideal nations.
Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these AI-designed nations. What resonates with you? What surprises you? And what questions does it raise for you about the future of our own societies?
Welcome back to our deep dive into AI-designed nations. Last time we unpacked how these AI architects approached governance, the economy, and some of the key organizations that would shape their societies. Now let's shift gears and explore a more intangible but equally crucial aspect.
Okay.
The social fabric of these imagined nations.
It's like we're moving from the blueprints to the interior design, right? We've got the basic structure.
Yeah.
But now we need to figure out how to create a sense of community,
Uh-huh.
shared identity,
Right.
and overall well-being for the citizens of these AI nations.
Precisely. A nation is more than just systems and structures. It's about the people, their values, their shared experiences, and their sense of belonging. And it's fascinating to see how these AIs approach this challenge, each with its own unique perspective on what makes a society thrive.
Okay, let's start with the idea of shared experiences and collective responsibility. One proposal that really jumped out at me was ChatGPT's idea of a mandatory national service program. Imagine every citizen dedicating 2 years of their lives to contributing to projects in areas like education, healthcare, or environmental conservation.
It's a bold idea, that's for sure. 2 years is a significant commitment, but the AI's reasoning was that this shared experience would not only benefit society, but also create a strong sense of unity and purpose among citizens.
It's like a modern-day rite of passage, but with a focus on giving back to the community and fostering a sense of shared responsibility for the nation's well-being. I wonder how people would react to such a requirement. Would they embrace it as an opportunity for personal growth and civic engagement? Or would they resist it as an infringement on their individual freedom?
It's a question that highlights the tension between individual liberty and collective good, a tension that any society must grapple with. Now, contrast that with Gemini's approach, which focused on promoting a culture of civic engagement through technology. They proposed a digital democracy platform where citizens could actively participate in policy discussions, vote on referendums, and provide feedback on government performance.
So it's like taking the town hall meeting concept and amplifying it through technology, making it easier for people to engage with the political process and have their voices heard. But would such a platform truly be inclusive? Would it reach those who lack digital literacy or access to technology?
That's a crucial question. Digital equity would be paramount to ensure that such a platform doesn't inadvertently exclude certain segments of the population. And of course, there's the issue of online security and the potential for manipulation or misinformation. Those are challenges that any digital democracy would need to address.
It's a reminder that technology, while powerful, is not a panacea. It can amplify both positive and negative forces, and it's up to us to shape its use in ways that benefit society as a whole.
Absolutely. Now, moving beyond civic engagement, let's talk about culture. How did these AIs envision fostering a vibrant and diverse cultural landscape?
Well, there seemed to be a clear consensus on the importance of celebrating diversity and promoting inclusivity. But it's one thing to state those values. It's another to actually create a society where everyone feels welcomed and respected. How did these AIs translate those ideals into concrete proposals?
Several AIs emphasized the importance of supporting artistic expression and cultural heritage. For example, Gemini suggested funding for festivals, museums, and public art projects that showcase the nation's diverse cultural tapestry.
So it's about creating spaces where people can connect with their own cultural roots and also learn about the traditions and beliefs of others. But wouldn't that require a delicate balancing act? How do you promote diversity without inadvertently creating divisions or essentializing cultural identities?
It's a challenge that any multicultural society faces, and it requires ongoing dialogue, understanding, and a willingness to embrace complexity. Now, another recurring theme was the importance of education, not just as a means to economic success, but as a foundation for personal growth and active citizenship.
Claude's AI in particular envisioned a system of lifelong learning with facilities where people of all ages could continue to acquire new skills and knowledge throughout their lives. It's like a nation designed to be a perpetual incubator for growth and intellectual curiosity.
Exactly. And that focus on education was seen as essential for fostering critical thinking adaptability and informed decision-making among citizens.
It's interesting to consider how these AIs approach the issue of security. Do they all prioritize traditional military strength? Or were there alternative visions of what it means to create a safe and stable society?
Well, there is definitely a range of perspectives. ChatGPT's AI took a very proactive approach, proposing that National Defense and Resilience Agency we discussed earlier, it's about preparing for any eventuality, whether it's a natural disaster, a cyber attack, or a conventional military conflict.
So it's about having a robust defense system and the capacity to respond effectively to a wide range of threats. But wouldn't such a focus on security create a culture of fear and paranoia? How do you balance the need for preparedness with the preservation of civil liberties and a sense of openness?
It's a delicate balance, and it's one that democracies have been grappling with for centuries. Now, contrast that with Gemini's approach, which prioritized diplomacy and conflict resolution. Their vision involves a limited military focus primarily on national defense and peacekeeping operations.
So it's about investing in peaceful solutions and avoiding unnecessary military intervention. But wouldn't such a nation be vulnerable to aggression from more powerful adversaries? How do you ensure your security in a world where not everyone shares your commitment to diplomacy?
It's a valid concern. And it highlights the complex realities of international relations where idealism often clashes with pragmatism. Now, what I find particularly fascinating is how these AIs envision the interplay between individual freedom and social responsibility.
It's like they're trying to find that sweet spot where individuals can flourish while also contributing to the well-being of the collective. Some of these proposals seem to lean more towards individual liberty, while others emphasize the importance of shared sacrifice and collective action.
It's a tension that's at the heart of many societal debates. Take, for example, the idea of a universal basic income, which several AIs incorporated into their blueprints. On the one hand, it could provide individuals with greater freedom and security, allowing them to pursue their passions without the fear of financial ruin. On the other hand, it raises questions about individual responsibility and the potential for dependency.
It's like these AIs are wrestling with some of the same fundamental questions that have been debated by philosophers and policymakers for centuries. What does it mean to create a just and equitable society? How do you balance individual rights with the needs of the community? And what role should the government play in shaping the lives of its citizens?
It's fascinating to see how these AI-generated blueprints reflect these enduring dilemmas, and it highlights the fact that there are no easy answers, no one-size-fits-all solutions.
It's a reminder that building a nation, whether in the real world or in the realm of AI, is a complex and nuanced endeavor. It requires careful consideration of a wide range of factors, from economic models and governing structures to social values and cultural norms.
And it's a process that requires ongoing adaptation, experimentation, and a willingness to learn from both successes and failures.
We've explored the social and cultural fabric of these AI-designed nations, their approaches to security, and the ways they've attempted to balance individual freedom with social responsibility. But there's still one more piece of the puzzle we need to examine: the overall vision these AIs have for their ideal nations.
Right. In our final part, we'll step back and consider the big picture, the kind of future these AIs are ultimately striving to create.
Stay tuned for Part 3, where we'll explore the overarching themes, the potential pitfalls, and the lessons we can learn from these digital architects. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. In the previous parts, we explored the fascinating world of AI-designed nations, delving into their intricate systems of governance, their innovative economic models, and their unique approaches to fostering a thriving society. But now it's time to step back and contemplate the larger implications of these digital blueprints.
Indeed. We've been on quite a journey through these hypothetical nations, examining the nuts and bolts of their structures. Now we need to shift our focus to the grander vision, the kind of future these AIs seem to be striving for. It's like deciphering the soul of a nation after understanding its physical form.
Exactly. We've explored the what and the how, but now we delve into the why. What overarching themes emerge from these diverse blueprints? What values do they prioritize? And what can we as humans learn from these AI experiments as we grapple with the challenges of shaping our own societies?
One striking theme is the unwavering emphasis on sustainability. Almost all the AIs incorporated elements of circular economies, renewable energy, and responsible resource management into their blueprints. It's as if they recognize that a nation's long-term prosperity is intrinsically linked to the health of the planet.
It's like they're saying, hey, humans, you can't build a thriving society on a depleted planet. It's a potent message, especially in a time when we're facing unprecedented environmental challenges. But it's not just about preserving the environment. It's also about creating a more equitable and just society.
Absolutely. Many of these AIs envision societies where every citizen has access to quality education, healthcare, and basic necessities. Whether through universal basic income, universal basic dividends, or other innovative social safety nets, these AIs seem to prioritize a world where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential, regardless of their background or circumstances.
It's like they're aiming for a future where poverty and inequality are not inevitable outcomes, but challenges that can be overcome through thoughtful policies and a commitment to social justice. It's a hopeful vision, but it also raises some critical questions. How do we balance individual freedom with the need for collective action to achieve these ambitious goals?
That's the eternal dilemma, isn't it? And it's one that these AIs, in their own way, attempt to address. Some lean more towards individual liberty, while others emphasize the importance of shared sacrifice and collective responsibility. For instance, remember ChatGPT's proposal for mandatory national service? It's a prime example of how individual contributions can be harnessed for the greater good.
It's like they're suggesting that true freedom doesn't just mean pursuing your own interests, but also contributing to the well-being of your community. But how do you ensure that such contributions are truly voluntary and not coerced? And how do you strike a balance between individual aspirations and societal needs?
It's a complex equation with no easy answers. But what's remarkable is that these AIs are engaging with these fundamental questions, pushing us to think critically about how we structure our own societies and the values we prioritize. Another key takeaway for me is the role of technology in shaping the future. These AIs weren't afraid to embrace innovative technologies, from AI-assisted governance to digital democracy platforms.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, look, technology is a powerful tool and we can use it to create a better world if we do it thoughtfully and ethically, but it's also a double-edged sword.
Precisely. While these AIs showcase the potential of technology to enhance our lives, they also highlight the potential risks. For instance, the reliance on AI in decision-making raises concerns about transparency, accountability, and the potential for bias. Similarly, the widespread use of digital platforms for governance and social interaction necessitates safeguards against misinformation, manipulation, and surveillance.
It's a reminder that technological advancements should always be coupled with ethical considerations and robust safeguards to protect human rights and democratic values. What stands out to you as the most significant takeaway from these AI-designed nations?
For me, it's the reminder that the future is not predetermined. It's a canvas waiting for us to paint it. And these AI blueprints offer a glimpse into the vast spectrum of possibilities. They challenge us to think beyond our current paradigms, to imagine alternative ways of organizing society, and to embrace innovation while remaining mindful of its potential pitfalls.
It's like they're saying, hey, humans, wake up. You have the power to shape your own destiny, but you need to be proactive, thoughtful, and courageous in your choices. And that's a powerful message for all of us, isn't it?
Absolutely. We can't just passively accept the future that unfolds before us. We have a responsibility to engage with the challenges, to embrace the possibilities, and to shape a future that reflects our values and aspirations.
Well said. It's been an incredible journey exploring these AI-designed nations. We've delved into their intricate systems, pondered their values, and contemplated the broader implications for our own societies. It's been a mind-expanding exercise, to say the least.
Indeed, it's a reminder that even hypothetical thought experiments can spark valuable insights and ignite our imaginations.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to hear from you, our listeners. What resonated with you from these AI-designed nations? What ideas sparked your curiosity? And what questions do you have about the role of AI in shaping the future? Leave us a comment below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world around us.